Hi guys, this is your reading for the week of January 1st through the 7th, and as usual, before we get into the cards, I do want to take a moment to thank all of you who have been supporting this channel and supporting me on a more personal level as well. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you, regardless of whether you are more of a silent supporter and you just watch the videos, or whether you're more vocal and you interact with me directly. Regardless of the level of communication between us, there's not a single one of you that I don't value and consider as being part of my community. So thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey and for being part of mine as well. This work is so rewarding for me. I love getting the opportunity to do this. And I'm not just talking specifically about readings, although that's fun too. But for me, this work is really about being able to have the opportunity to help expand your horizons and give you a different perspective on things, maybe a new way to look at things, so that whatever choices you make, whatever conclusions you come to are informed, and so that they're more well-rounded, and you make your own decisions based on multiple ways of looking at things. And that's really what I'm here for. That's really what I want to do, is give you just new perspectives. So thank you for allowing me that opportunity to do that, to do this work that I love. And thank you so much for being part of my world, for being part of my process and my journey that I'm on as well. I started this business back in October, but I'd been ramping up for all of this since late July. And in that period of time, I have changed so much that I hardly even recognize who I was back at the beginning of July. I've grown so much and developed so much and really moved more into my confidence. And you guys are a big part of that. Part of it's been me just starting the business, excuse me, and being an entrepreneur, launching out on my own. It was a big leap of faith, but a big part of that expansion has to do with all of you and the interactions that I have with you, because you guys expand my horizons as much as I hope that I expand yours. I learn a lot from you. I get different perspectives from you, and I'm meeting so many different people from all over the world. And that's really opening my eyes to a lot of things and growing my awareness. And I really love this sense of camaraderie that I feel with you, and that companionship. It really is a strong sense of community for me, and I'm so appreciative of that. Every single day, I am so appreciative of that. For those of you who do reach out to me on a more personal level, I am more backlogged than I was before. So now it can take up to 5 days to hear from me. It's stop and go. Sometimes you'll be able to hear from me same day, but sometimes it can take up to 5 days. Just kind of depends on where I'm at, trying to balance things out in my day-to-day life. So thank you for your patience. All of you have been super understanding about that. I haven't had anybody who's lashed out at me or been passive aggressive or anything along those lines, and I really appreciate that. I have a lot of things on my plate right now, so not having to worry about that is awesome. Thank you so much. And those of you who have been donating to the channel or booking sessions with me, I want you to know how much I really do value and appreciate you. It's been overwhelming for me in the best of ways to have the opportunity to start really diving into this work. And through the sessions and the donations, it's still a little bit of a leap of faith for me, but I have been able to cut back my hours doing massage by 1 day, which doesn't maybe seem like a lot, but for me it is, and I have you guys to thank for that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Not only does it allow me to focus more on this work, and I am going to be moving around my schedule a little bit to have a little bit more availability and accessibility for you guys, but it's also helping me out on a very personal level as well, because I actually have a physical condition that causes my joints to be almost constantly hyperextended, and I don't have that. It's very hard for me to put on muscle because of this condition that I have. It causes me to have extra elastin in all of my connective tissue. And so it's really hard for me to put on muscle to support my joints, and because my joints are hyperextended all the time, the strain and pressure from doing massage has really been causing a rapid deterioration of my joints, way faster than they normally would and faster than most people's would. So I've actually been pretty nervous and scared the last couple of years because of the impact on my joints and the long-term impact of that, because I'm just about to turn 30 and I'm a little too young to be having a bunch of joint problems. So, you know, thank you for giving me the opportunity to cut back that day of doing massage. It takes a huge weight off my shoulders because it's, you know, it's one less day every week that I'm putting strain on all of my joints and on my body. Thank you. You have no idea how much that means to me. So not only are you helping me out on the financial means, but you are literally saving my body. So thank you so much. And those of you who haven't been able to donate financially, a lot of you, I still want to express my gratitude, because even if you haven't been able to financially donate, a lot of you have offered services to me in other ways, either to do readings for me or to be a virtual assistant for me, or you've sent me a Reiki or things like that, or just encouraging words, because you wanted to give back in some way. And that really means so much to me. I would never have expected that. You know, I didn't even have, you know, big expectations about receiving financial donations. I especially didn't expect to get, you know, you guys offering your time and your effort to assist me and help me balance my life out and balance myself out. So I am so super appreciative of that as well. Thank you so much. All right, so now, last week I had told you guys that each week I'm going to share something personal about myself, and that I would introduce you to a couple of members of my team. So this week, what I want to share with you about myself is actually my favorite author, and I do a lot of reading. And let's see if I can finagle this with the light. It's hard. It's going to be a little bit shiny. All right, so my favorite author is Robert Heinlein, and some of you may have heard of him, and if you have heard of him, most people are familiar with his book Starship Troopers or Stranger in a Strange Land. If you're familiar with him because of the movie Starship Troopers, please don't judge him based on that. That movie was horribly made and it did not do justice to his genius at all. But anyway, enough of my rant about Starship Troopers. But Robert Heinlein is so incredible, and he has been such a big influence on my life in terms of the way that I perceive things. So he's, to me, a brilliant philosopher, and he understands so much about human psychology and interpersonal dynamics, and he has really interesting ways of looking at everything from, you know, those people-to-people interactions, to love, to politics, to finances, to absolutely everything under the sun. And so just from reading his books, it's changed so much about the way that I look at things. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he talks about, and he does cover some like controversial and taboo subjects that can make you a little bit uncomfortable, but that's also part of the reason why I like his books, is because he gives you a different perspective and a different angle on things that our society just kind of teaches us, like right off the bat, nope, wrong, no matter what, this is wrong, you know, whatever. So it does push your boundaries. It kind of, it pushes you to expand your comfort zone and to get different perspectives before you make any conclusions of your own. So that's what I really love about Robert Heinlein. My favorite book of his is the one that I showed you, Time Enough for Love. And the reason why I love it is because it's just really well-rounded. And I feel like it was probably, even though they're fictional characters, it was probably more of an autobiographical type of novel, because it does dive so much into kind of everything, you know, like I said, the person-to-person interactions and philosophy and politics and sexuality and finances and just a little bit of everything, and the changing of the times as well. So it really does cover a lot of ground, and considering how much ground it covers, it's a relatively short book. It's still a long one, but it doesn't feel super long because the entire way through it, it's just, he's constantly triggering you to like think about things from a different perspective. So Time Enough for Love is my favorite book. My next favorite book of his would be To Sail Beyond the Sunset. Again, he covers a lot of those things, but my favorite thing about To Sail Beyond the Sunset is that the main character, Maureen, she's like my role model. She is such a strong female character. Robert Heinlein was very good at writing strong female leads who don't fall into all the stereotypes and stuff that normal, you know, strong female leads do. So I look to Maureen as a role model on a lot of things. Again, I don't agree with everything in terms of those philosophies, but she has that character has changed so much about the way I perceive myself and my relationships with others and the world around me. So if you're looking for a book that has a strong female lead that's a little bit different than what you're used To Sail Beyond the Sunset is a really good one. And then if you are interested in politics at all, I would definitely suggest The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. They don't get as much into the psychology stuff of just one-on-one relationships. So that one wasn't like my absolute favorite, because that's the part that I really enjoy, is the psychology of interpersonal dynamics. But The Moon is a Harsh Mistress talks about like a complete paradigm shift in terms of government and like how that could happen behind the scenes and all of that. So it's interesting from that sense. And Robert Heinlein is considered like a sci-fi author or a futurist. Not normally my forte. It's not really the genre that I'm into. And in fact, I don't usually read a whole lot of fiction in general. I really prefer psychology books and social psychology and memoirs, that sort of thing. So fiction isn't even normally my thing, and sci-fi really isn't. I like the 3 original Star Wars movies and The Fifth Element, and that's usually about as far as I go. But Robert Heinlein has a way of making it interesting, and it's not just all about the sci-fi aspects. It's a little bit of everything. He really dives into a little bit of everything, and that's what I really enjoy about him. So if you are interested, I would definitely suggest reading those books. He will expand your horizons in some crazy ways, push your boundaries, and just give you a different way of looking at the world. So that's the personal tidbit about me for this week. And then there are 2 members of my team I'm going to introduce you to. So last week I introduced you to my mom and my great-grandfather. And we're still staying relatively close to home, because the next 2 that I want to introduce you to are 2 of my power animals. And I have more than that, but these are the ones that I kind of consider to be, they're the ones that I've had the longest, and they're the ones that I kind of consider to be my main ones. So the first one is Fox. And Fox is kind of like a familiar for me. We've been together in lots of lifetimes, and in some of those lifetimes he's actually had a physical form. In this lifetime he's just in spirit form. But he teaches me a lot about how to remain composed in difficult situations and challenging or confusing energies. He helps me to get different perspectives on things, to see things from multiple angles, to not be reckless in my decision making. And he also helps me to balance my introvertedness and my extrovertedness. Because foxes, they can totally camouflage themselves and hide out in the strangest of places so you could never find them and be able to observe everything around them. Or they can be right out front and center and be the center of attention. And I'm normally a wallflower. So foxes kind of helped to pull me out of that and help me to balance, you know, who I am on the inside, and to show that more on the outside. So that's, you know, how Fox helps me out, and he's always with me, and he is probably, of my entire team, he's the one that I'm the closest to be perfectly honest. He's just always with me. He is my familiar, and I absolutely love and adore him. And the other one that I want to introduce you to is Wolf. And Wolf, he's been teaching me this very valuable lesson that I think applies to all of us. And if you have been following my readings for a while, you know, anytime I pull the medicine card Wolf, I get super excited, and it's because I really value what he teaches. And what Wolf teaches is how to be an individual, how to be independent, but how to be that within the context of your relationships and like your romantic relationships, and then how to balance that in terms of who you are within your community, within your tribe, within your pack. So, you know, wolves, they are pack oriented, but they have a strong individualistic streak, and they also tend to be very committed to a single partner for life. And so it's such this beautiful balance of energies where you can be a strong individual and you don't have to compromise yourself or surrender your individuality just to be in a relationship or just to fit in with your community. Wolf really teaches us how to still remain ourselves within context of our relationships and interactions with others. Wolf is also, for me, he's a strong protective energy. He's very observant. He's very wary. He is sometimes a little too serious, I think, but he is he's such a strong protector and guardian. And those of you who have been in contact with me, who have felt like you're under psychic attack, things like that, and I've sent somebody to be with you from my team, it's usually Wolf that I send, and a lot of you have been able to feel his energy even before I give you a heads up about exactly who it is that I've sent to you. And he loves doing that. He loves being able to protect and to guard and all of that. So yeah, that's Fox. And Wolf, Fox doesn't do a whole lot of interaction outside of his dynamic with me, but he does help stabilize and like balance me out, which still helps me in the channeling and everything that I do. And Wolf is a little bit more actively involved because he is, you know, pack oriented. So he likes to be more involved in all of this energy and to give his guidance and his protection. So that's everything, I think. And now we'll get into the cards for this week. So before we actually get into the cards, I do want to just touch really quickly on the overall energies that we're in. I've been talking about this for a few weeks now, for several weeks now maybe. We have been under pretty intense energies, and there's been a lot of crazy cosmic influences going on for a while, because we are in a transitionary period, and we're really starting to feel like this divide within ourselves, this conflicted energy where it's like, I want to move forward, like I feel like I need to move forward. There's this sense of urgency for getting that forward movement, going down our path, finding our way, finding our purpose, finding our partner, whatever the case may be. There's a strong desire now to really take the next steps forward and to take those leaps of faith that we need to. But at the same time, we've been feeling kind of limited, like we can't move forward. And we've been like, am I going to be able to do this? Am I enough? And having some self-doubt come up, and, you know, kind of rehashing the past, and, you know, things leaving our lives and coming into our lives, and everything kind of happening at the same time. And it's because we're at this transitionary period. And as much as we would love for transitions to be over in a day, because they can be really uncomfortable, this is something that takes a little bit of time. So if you have been feeling that conflicted energy, you're not the only one. Kind of everybody's in that. And if you're not in that, kudos to you. I'm so super happy for you that you're not feeling overwhelmed by the intensity and you're not feeling it conflict. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It's just that's not where you're at. But I do know for a large number of people there is this conflicted energy and this confusion and just a lot of intensity overall. And I'm not excluded from that. I'm right there with you. I am in that as well. And part of the reason I wanted to touch on that is because we do have a lot of cards this week that are about transformation. But the other aspect of it is because I want you to understand that these energies and the cosmic influences we're under are really big deals. Like some of these astrological transits we haven't seen in hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of years. So there's a huge shift that's going on an individual level, and on a collective level, we're really going through some significant paradigm shifts right now. So the intensity that we're in currently is more so than most of us have ever experienced in our lifetime, as far as outside influences from the universe energetically supporting us and making these shifts and these forward movements. But because of all of that support from the universe, it can almost feel smothering. It can almost feel like it's too much, like it's overwhelming you, like you can't contain it, like you can't control it, like you just feel so out of it and there's so much chaos. And I really want you to understand that you are not alone in this, and that it's okay. This is part of the process. There is nothing wrong with you. If this feels like it came out of nowhere, it didn't completely come out of nowhere, but it's understandable for it to have felt that way. You know, we've been ramping up for this for months now, and we're really coming to like that fever pitch point, which is why that conflicted energy is feeling so strong of, do I stay or do I go? What am I doing? Which direction am I going in? Like I feel the need to move, but I can't because I'm scared or because of whatever the case may be. But the intensity is such that you may find yourself having meltdowns or blow-ups, things like that. That actually happened to me a couple of days ago. Nothing bad even happened. There were no negative triggers or anything like that, but I had been feeling for a week or two this buildup of energy within me, and I hadn't been able to ground it the way that I normally do. There'd just been so much going on in my energy field and within me. It was almost like having really severe anxiety, but not quite. It just felt very strange. It just felt like a lot of energy coursing through me that I couldn't seem to ground. And then a couple of days ago, that really reached a fever pitch, and I had like synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity. It was like synchronicity overload. And I actually got overstimulated, which is something that I am susceptible to anyway, because I am on the autism spectrum, and also because I've got, along with all of the general crazy cosmic activity, I've got a bunch of stuff going on in my own chart that's throwing things off. So hopefully you guys don't have a super extreme reaction to these energies the way that I did. But nothing bad happened. They were all positive synchronicities. It was all good. It was just so much that between the synchronicities and the energy buildup within me, I got completely overloaded and I like lost it. For a solid 15 minutes, like I dropped to my knees, I was sobbing, I was screaming, I was throwing things around, like I just lost it for about 15 minutes. And then I totally came back to center, and you know, I had a little bit of like tantrum, I guess, a tantrum hangover, and then I was fine and I was able to ground my energy back again. And I'm still kind of emotional, no anger or anything like that, but it's more just like I'll suddenly start crying and I'm like, why am I crying again? But this is what's going on with this energy. We're going through a significant transformation. Our energy fields are expanding yet again. And the entire collective and the universal energies, like everything is just kind of like interacting in a very acute way. This is a fever pitch that we're at. So if you have had some sort of meltdown or blow up or something like that, please don't beat yourself up about it or think that there's anything wrong with you or anything along those lines. Give it a little while and you'll more than likely see that you're okay. You just needed to get it out of your system, because we really aren't prepared. We've been preparing, but this is such an influx of energy coming in so fast that it may feel like you're not prepared. You may not be able to ground it the ways that you normally do, because part of this transformation process is we're changing the ways that we do things and how we energetically respond to situations. And part of that's because we've been stepping into our power and we're truly becoming manifestors. And so everything is changing, not just about the world around us, but within ourselves as well, and how we respond to everything. So I wanted to really touch on that for a moment, so that if you have been having experiences like that, please understand that this is a transitionary thing, that it's just a lot of intense energy right now, that your energy field is expanding, your awareness is expanding. We're getting synchronicity overload. There's just a lot going on right now, and it's valid and it's okay if you have a meltdown. If that's the only way you can get it out of your system, don't beat up on yourself for it. It doesn't mean that you're backsliding. It just means you need to process it through your system somehow, and your usual methods may not work. All right. I've also noticed that a lot of people have been, if they haven't been having like meltdowns, which most people that I've known haven't been having like full-on meltdowns like what I had, but a lot of people have been getting really sick, even if they haven't been around other sick people. It's just like come out of nowhere, and it's been like the worst cold or the worst flu they've ever had. And that's another way that you're processing some of this energy through you, and it's purging out anything that you really do need to let go of that's limiting you from being able to move forward. So that's the overall energy that we're all kind of facing right now. So now we'll get into the actual themes for this week. The first card that we have is the creative, and the creative is really talking about that universal energy. I've talked about before, if you've been following me for a while, when we get the medicine card, Black Panther. Black Panther is a representation of the void, and think about it in terms of, you know, you look out into outer space and whatnot, and yeah, there are all of these stars and planets, but a lot of it's just this void. It's just darkness, but that is, I mean, that's energy in and of itself. And this is really what we're developing right now, is our connection to the universal energy, learning how to flow with it, how to really manifest with it. Because now we have the ability to, and we're learning how to implement it. We're learning how that actually works. We built up all of our own raw power, but now we're figuring out, okay, how do I utilize my power in combination, in collaboration with the universal energies and with the divine? So the creative is talking about universal energy at its purest. It's talking about the source energy. We're all made of the same stuff. We're all the same basic components, right? So we're learning to recognize not just our connections to the people around us, not just our connection to nature or even to this planet. What we're really learning more about this week and growing more into an awareness of is our connection to source energy. Whether you believe source has a consciousness or not, you're connecting to the universe, to the fact that we really are all made of the same components, that you are made of the same stuff as everything in the universe. So this is about our relationship with the universe, with that source energy, and how we are part of that, and how we utilize that, how we let it flow through us, and how we flow with it. And we see that with the cauldron. And this is talking about a process that you're going through where things are developing, things are forming, you're creating something, but it's not done yet. It's not complete. You're still working on your self-mastery. You're still learning how, again, how you connect to the universe. And through developing more of an awareness of your connection to the universe, that's going to help you to be able to more powerfully create, and how to really hone your self-mastery in the name of creation. So, you know, the cauldron is kind of like what it is that we're trying to create. And as the universal energy flows in through us and we connect to it fully, we're able to focus that and harness that into this cauldron of the future that we're trying to create, the things that we're trying to manifest into physical reality, the path that we're trying to follow. The cauldron is what's going to allow us to bring it into physical form, and also to really see how our connection to the universe connects to what it is that we're wanting, and how we create based on that connection to the universal energy. The next card that we have is resoluteness, and this card is about having unwavering conviction and not backing down and not giving up, even if it seems like things are impossible. Never give up. I know that this period of time can be so intense, and you can feel so conflicted, and there's almost like this energy of like, oh my God, I just want it to stop. Can it please just stop? Like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this. It's not even worth it. But it is. Keep going. Don't give up. We're at that threshold point. We're at that fever pitch point where we're about to tip over into actually moving forward. We've done all of this releasing this year. And even last year too, we did a lot of releasing, and we've been shifting into more self-mastery. We're still working on that self-mastery, but we're at this tipping point where it's like, okay, we have enough of a connection to our power and to the universe and all of that good stuff. We've worked on the self-mastery enough that we're like right at that tipping point where it's like, okay, I can start manifesting things into my physical reality. But there's still a little bit more self-mastery that needs to take place, and we need to be resolute in our determination. We need to stay, strong in our conviction and in our faith that we can actually do this, because we can. So this resolute energy and being determined is going to be so important for us this week, because we are dealing with these heavier energies and just all of this intensity bearing down on us and boiling up from within us too, because it's that mirror effect. What we feel and experience within us, we mirror out into the universe, but it's working the same way the other way around this time. All of these cosmic influences, because we are connected to everything, because we're all the same basic components. So what's going on with all of these cosmic influences, all the planets and all the stars and whatever, what's going on there is bearing down on us. But with that mirror effect, those same things, those same changes and transitions are occurring from within us as well. So we're kind of, our energy field is kind of colliding with the universe right now. And our biggest focus is on staying the course, staying firm in our convictions, we can actually manifest the things that we're wanting. Because even though we're kind of feels like we're colliding with the universe right now, by connecting more fully to the universe, we'll be able to realize that we're not in collision with the universe. We are part of the universe. That it's not us and us versus the universe. It's not two separate things. We are all part of the same energy. So by connecting, that's how we're going to be able to manifest. And that's one of the last blockages we have, is viewing ourselves as being separate from everything else in the universe. So when you connect to that source energy and recognize that you are part of it, you can flow with it and it can flow with you. And it's this reciprocal energy that has this positive feedback loop where we mirror to the universe what it is we're wanting, and the universe mirrors back to us. So this is actually a very beautiful week for us to just take time to focus on our connection to that source energy. Focus on our connection to absolutely everything and everyone in the entire universe. Really think big picture this week. Really expand your horizons. Maybe watch some documentaries about space exploration, whatever it is that's going to help you to connect. Whether you can connect more easily energetically through meditation, or whether you can connect more easily through something tangible like a documentary or a book or whatnot. Even Robert Heinlein books, since he writes a lot about sci-fi and time travel and space travel and all of that. Maybe you need something tangible like that, or maybe you don't, but the biggest focus is on finding whatever way it is that you connect to source energy, to the universe, so that you can understand how you are part of it and it is part of you, and you are not opposing forces. You are one and the same, all right? So the reason why we're going through this is balancing the scales. We've seen this come up before, but in the past this has come up before because we were talking about balancing the scales more within ourselves, or balancing the scales within context of our relationships with other people. But what we're really doing now, again, looking at that big picture perspective, we're looking at everything universally this week. And so balancing the scales is balancing our energy with the energy of the universe, with source energy. We're balancing that out by recognizing our connection, by recognizing that we are the universe and the universe is us, that sort of thing. So by balancing out that energy with the universe, we'll be able to balance out ourselves and balance out our lives more. And through all of that, we get the Temple of Lapis Lazuli. And I actually really love this card because this card talks about finding your place in the universe. It talks a lot about finding your soul tribe, you know, the people that you have deep spiritual connections to. But again, since we're looking at everything of a big picture perspective this week, this is about finding your place in the universe, remembering who you are at that soul level, remembering, you know, who you are at that moment that your consciousness was born into existence, you know. And that didn't happen when you came into a mortal body. That happened long before that. The moment that you were born, that your consciousness was born, that all of the components came together and formed your consciousness. This is what you're connecting to this week. You are connecting to that original consciousness and remembering your place in the universe so that you can connect in a more harmonious way with that source energy and create your path based on who you actually are. And also this week is going to allow you the opportunity to see those things in others as well. The bigger focus is going to be on you, but you will get glimpses and strong connections with people based on, you know, how your consciousness interacts with their consciousness, and talking about it on that soul level. So again, this is like that finding your soul tribe. But we're really expanding our perspective this week, moving out of the microcosm and moving as far out into the macrocosm as you can possibly get. And we're taking that approach to absolutely everything this week. So really expand your horizons and then expand them beyond what you even think is possible. Explore completely new ideas, even if they sound crazy. Just explore, discover, find what there is out there, okay? And who we have working with us this week, first of all, we have Tiferet, and Tiferet is about, you know, the heart chakra. So this is that connection that we have to our heart, and by opening our heart, we'll be able to open up to a whole lot of other things, especially in terms of our relationships to others. But this is, you know, the heart is that of your basic chakra system, right? The heart is the center point. It is the balance point for everything. And that's how we're going to balance the scales, is through our heart. Because we so often, and I'm really bad about this because I'm an Aquarian, I so often want to process everything intellectually, and that's limiting for me. That's one of the self-limitations I have to let go of, is to process everything logically, because logic doesn't always apply. And you know, I have to get to a point where I can balance things from my heart space, from my intuition, from my own inner knowing. And yeah, the intuition is more associated maybe with the third eye, but I feel like at the base level, your consciousness is really housed more in that center point of that heart chakra and that kind of heart energy. And you know, that's really where where we are best able to balance from, where we're really best able to open and expand ourselves to allow for possibilities. I feel like children really operate from that heart level. They're very exploratory. They want to discover things. They want to know why. But I feel like they view everything through more the eyes of love, through that original consciousness, rather than trying to, rather than asking these questions, getting answers, and then being like, okay, well, this makes sense because of this, and processing everything from up here. Children, for the most part, process everything through here. And this is where we're really being asked to process what it is that we're experiencing and feeling this week, because this is where we're going to be able to connect to the universe most strongly. Can you connect more intellectually? Absolutely. But that's not going to be the most powerful means of connection. The most powerful means of connection is going to be through your heart. That's where you're really going to be able to balance the best. And then we also have Suchlaf, and Suchlaf is talking about a blossoming that you're going through. And really, I feel like this is us connecting to that universal energy and realizing, really where we come from. Really where we come from. Not our hometown, not our parents, but where we actually come from at that soul level. Again, really expand your horizons. Look at things from a completely different perspective than you normally would, all right? Because we're really wanting to see the ways in which we are currently blossoming and the ways in which we have blossomed in multiple other ways before that has been facilitated through the universal energy. And the more we flow with the energy, the more easily this blossoming process happens. So we're really kind of doing a review of all of our growth up to this point. You may even get some past life memories this week, or visions, things like that, that give you more solid clues about who you've been on that soul level before this lifetime. But we're really reviewing all of our growth up to this point and recognizing that we are firmly rooted now, and it's about time for us to really break ground. That's what we're getting ready to do, is to break ground. We have two spirit animals with us this week. The first one that we have is snake, which I think is really beautiful here, because snake is all about transformation and rebirth. It's, it's shedding of the old. It's shedding your ego. It's shedding all of your past traumas and experiences. It's shedding all of your self-limitations and all of those things. Snake is also, again, about that transformation. So by letting go of things, you are transformed. But snake is also about transmutation, and transmutation is talking about that alchemy, and that's working with the universal energy in ways that will actually facilitate growth and forward movement. So snake is a very powerful energy to have with us. Snake is actually one of my favorites of the power animals, especially within the medicine card deck, because snake represents something that is so transformative on a level beyond what I think most of us can really comprehend. Snake is really pure alchemy, and how as we shed more of our ego and as we move more into our power and we allow ourselves to go through a transformation process, we become more powerful alchemists, and we can work with the universal energies more. And that actually gave me like all kinds of crazy chills and goosebumps that ran through my body, because I feel like it is just so the influence that snake's energy has on us is just so immense that we can't even completely wrap our heads around it. And that's what this week is about trying to kind of not wrap your head around it so much, but wrap your heart around it, and to be really moving into your awareness and a whole new level of the way that you connect to everything. And then we have Panther. Wasn't I just talking earlier about Black Panther? Now this isn't the medicine card, but we're still looking at very similar themes. So we're looking at Panther in terms of that darkness, that void space. And it's so important to remember that even though the void can be scary because it is dark, there's a lot of uncertainty. You can't really find your footing in the void. But that's where all the magic happens. That's where all the creativity happens, is within that void space. It's a blank slate that you can do anything with. And once you connect more powerfully to that universal energy and recognize how much it is a part of you, you can so powerfully create whatever it is that you're wanting for yourself, for your life, for your spiritual evolution, for your development, and that sort of thing. So, Black Panther is again a reminder to us that we are connecting more fully to the universe, finding that void space, and instead of being afraid of it, seeing the magic within it and utilizing that magic through our power to alchemize the energy, because everything is made of the same components that we are. Everything is made of those same basic universal components. And once we can really tap into that and understand that on a really big level, that's when we're going to become powerful manifestors, because we'll have understood how to alchemize the energy completely. All right. Well, as much as we can at the mortal level. We are divine beings, but we are in physical bodies, so we do have certain limitations, but we're about to be able to move into manifestation on a whole new level beyond what we've ever been able to before. So for the feminine energies this week, we've got 4 cards. So from the Goddesses and Sirens deck, the goddess we have with us is Kuan Yin. I love Kuan Yin, like on a very personal level. Like, I absolutely adore her. She is my patron deity. She was the first member of my team that I connected to. And Kuan Yin she is the energy of compassion. And if you're not familiar with her story, she was, she lived the way that she was meant to and all of that, and she had access to nirvana. She got that chance. And as she was moving into that ascension, she looked back and saw the suffering in the world, and she was like, I can't leave this behind, because she had so much compassion in her heart. Sorry, I always get like teary-eyed when I talk about Kuan Yin because I feel so connected to her. But she had so much compassion in her heart that she literally couldn't leave behind a world that's suffering. And so what Kuan Yin is doing for the feminine energies this week is she's coming in to help you to feel nurtured, to feel healed, to have compassion for yourself, and to have compassion for everyone and for everything that you have experienced in your entire life. Because a lack of compassion or self-love is where we limit ourselves the most, and it's really time for us to let go of our self-limitations so that we can move forward, so that we can understand our place in the universe and what we're here for and what our purpose is, what our soul path is, and also so that we can understand how deserving and worthy we are of manifesting the things that we're wanting for ourselves, of manifesting our spiritual evolution to a whole new level. Kuan Yin is here helping the feminine energies this week to really connect to that sense of compassion and to nurture and love you so that you can be more aware of what that love feels like on a whole new level, so that you can feel it for yourself and for everything and everyone in creation, and for source energy in and of itself, because source energy is our creator. So Kuan Yin is really tying everything together for the feminine through compassion, through love. Okay, hopefully that's the last time I'm going to get super emotional about that. I always start like crying when I talk about Kuan Yin. She's just so amazing. And she actually, with the Nectar of the Lotus, continuing on with that theme, she's letting us know that for the feminine, the focus this week is going to be about allowing yourself to be nurtured and nurturing yourself. Feminine energies are particularly notorious for giving and giving and giving so much of ourselves and not replenishing our own cup. And if you're constantly pouring from your cup into others, you're going to run out. You have to be able to take care of yourself, to nurture yourself, to love yourself, so that you can provide to other people. We feel so much pressure to be there for other people, to do things for other people, to give, to do all of that. And that's great. There's nothing, well, it's not great that we feel pressured to. It should never feel like an obligation, but it is great that we want to help others, that we do have that love and compassion in our hearts. But we need to make sure that we turn that within as well, so that we can replenish our own resources. This is going to be a big focus for the feminine this week, especially because as we connect to that source energy more, that's going to make us want even more to be of service and to help and to feel more connected to everyone and everything around us, and to fill the universe with more of that energy of love. So we need to make sure that we're nurturing ourselves, and Kuan Yin is going to be here helping us to balance that, showing us how to nurture others while still allowing ourselves to receive, and still nurturing ourselves as well, so that we don't deplete our resources. Because then we don't help anybody when we deplete our resources, right? And I'm bad about that too. Like, I'm starting to get better about it. but I'm bad about not taking care of myself because I'm so focused on other people, and I've got to shift that as well. And that's something that's so important for the feminine to focus on, because we are nurturers. That is what we do. We are this energy of love and nurturance and wanting to help people and take care of people. We need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves so that we can truly be of service to others, but also so that we can understand, again, how deserving and worthy we are of the same love and compassion and service that we provide to others. The next card that we have is from the Medicine card deck, and we have Blue Heron, and Blue Heron is about self-reflection. So, you know, this is tying into that need to nurture ourselves. We need to go within and recognize the ways in which we have been depleting ourselves and the ways in which we have been helping people. But we need to go within so we can see and check in with ourselves and be like, am I actually balanced in my energy? Am I giving, you know, am I receiving as much as I'm giving, and vice versa? We really need to go within also to, again, recognize our connection to that source energy and how we interact with it and what part we play and who we are in context of the universal community. And the next card that we have is Butterfly. So through that self-reflection, through nurturing ourselves and moving more fully into unconditional love and compassion, we get Butterfly. And Butterfly is transformation. So this is kind of tying in with Snake. We're going through a huge transformation. So if you are feeling that intensity of energy and you feel like you're really struggling and you're like, I want to move forward, but I still feel limited, what's going on? Think of it in terms of that butterfly breaking out of the cocoon, because that is one heck of a struggle that the butterfly has to go through to get out of the cocoon. But it's through that struggle the butterfly strengthens itself and you know, builds its confidence and all of that. We're going through this struggle right now in these intense energies. We're breaking through that cocoon. We're breaking through that shell ourselves. Could the divine do it for us? Yes, but we wouldn't be as strong that way. This is letting us a big part of this transformative process that we're going through is helping us to recognize our own power, the power of our compassion, of our love, of our nurturance, of everything that the feminine really embodies. And everybody has feminine energy and masculine energy. All right, so this isn't just about applying to women. This is applying to the feminine energy that you have within you, connecting to the power of your vulnerability and love and compassion and all of those things, and realizing that you don't have to be this big, bad, whatever. You know, you don't have to be a huge bear or a dragon or anything like that to be powerful. Butterflies are powerful in their own way, just sheerly because of the transformative process that they go through naturally, and all the effort and work that they have to put into that, and then how beautiful they become and how they're able to take flight because of that, and how it's just a natural part of their growth and their evolution. So this is what the feminine is really connecting to this week, is that butterfly energy and realizing all the power that there is in that type of transformation. All right. Okay, so for the masculine energy, from the Gods and Titans deck, we have Odin. And Odin is going to be teaching the masculine this week how to flow with the guidance that they are receiving from the divine and from the universe. Odin is going to be guiding the masculine further and further into self-awareness and into wisdom. You know, Odin sacrificed one of his own eyes so that he could drink from the fountain of wisdom and be able to share that wisdom with others. And so Odin is going to be teaching the masculine about the pursuit of wisdom, and that all of the things that you've gone through and everything that you're currently going through that's challenging is the sacrifice that you are making in order to move further into wisdom and into that next upward spiral of your spiritual evolution. That's what Odin is here, is to show you the value of everything that you've been through and everything that you're going through currently, so that you can connect again to that bigger perspective, that big picture view, your connection to the universe, your connection to others, your connection to yourself, your connection to absolutely anything and everything. Odin's is going to be guiding you further into all of the wisdom that comes from the experiences that you have that build upon your innate wisdom that you have at that soul level as a original consciousness. Now, Kuan Yin is going to be bringing us the Mother of Mercy. And I do get the feeling from this card that this could feel like a bit of a heavy energy, because the Mother of Mercy is talking about a recognition of how our actions and the things that we do, how that affects others. So it's our recognition of karma, which is universal law of cause and effect. Most simple, that's what it is. People want to think of it as a reward and punishment system, and I know I harp about this in a lot of my videos, but I really want to break that stigma down, because that's not what it is. Karma is not punishment and reward. Karma is about lessons, and at the most basic level, karma is the law of cause and effect. Everything that we do has an effect. Everything we do has a consequence. And so the Mother of Mercy is going to be talking about this week. Kuan Yin is going to be helping the masculine this week in recognizing how their actions have affected others and how they have been affected by the actions of others as well. And that could be uncomfortable. It could be painful. There could be some heavy memories that come up with that, and some sadness or anger, resentment, that sort of thing. But the reason why you're being guided into this is, again, through Odin, to understand the wisdom of everything that has occurred, every interaction that you've had, but also to help you move more into that state of mercy and understanding and compassion as well. Again, Kuan Yin is the energy of compassion. That is what she embodies. And that's what she's doing. She's guiding the masculine this week into an understanding of how their actions impact others and how others have impacted them, so that you can recognize the wisdom of those experiences, and so you can move further and further into that state of compassion and love for yourself and for others. And she's also giving guidance to the masculine with the sacred river Yangtze, that it's so important to just flow with this. Because with how much heaviness there is, especially lately, and the masculine energies have been slammed a lot. Not that the feminine haven't, but the masculine in the most recent months have really been slammed a lot with the dark night of the soul and stuff like that. I think of 2016 was kind of like the year that the feminine were really focusing on rising. And now the gears have been shifting over the last few months, where now it's about the masculine really purging things and letting go of things so that he can rise fully into, that balanced power, instead of thinking of power in the way that our society teaches us, which is about aggression and money and competition and, reputation, image, all of that stuff. The masculine is really starting to rise into what it is to actually be a powerful masculine energy, and that's going to come through wisdom and love and compassion and a broader awareness, and more of an awareness about your connection, again, to that source energy and to the universe, and how everything interacts with each other, how everything plays off of each other, that universal law of cause and effect. And it's going to be so important to flow with this energy. All of this intensity that you've been experiencing for months now, it hasn't just been, even in the last couple of weeks, it's been months now that the masculine have been feeling so much intensity, and a lot of it's been very heavy. There's been, there's really been a push from the masculine to purge a lot of things, to let go of things, and there's been some catharsis that goes with that. And it's heavy. It's really heavy. So when these things come up this week, where you're starting to see the ways in which your actions have influenced others and vice versa, you may just be so tired of the heaviness that there may be this desire to just resist it and push it away and be like, I really just don't have it in me to face this or deal with this right now. But you do. You do have the capacity to. That's why you're being asked to do it right now. This is part of your transformation process, because we're all going through one right now. And this is part of what you're going through to break through, so that you can start moving forward. Because if you don't process this, if you don't flow with it, if you don't deal with these things, you're not going to be able to rise into your power enough that you'll be able to get that forward movement and become a master manifester. This is something that you really do need to go through. So instead of fighting it or resisting it, please just flow with it. You have divine support in doing that. You have the support of the cosmos in doing that. So you make the most of this opportunity to release as much as you possibly can, to move further into your wisdom, to your power, and into compassion, unconditional love, and mercy. And you have support from the medicine cards. You have Bat, and Bat is about a death and rebirth process. So this is kind of where you're at right now, is that kind of in-between space between between your ego death and your spiritual rebirth. You know, you're starting to connect more to who you actually are at that soul level. But a lot of things, a lot of pre-programmed ideas, a lot of toxic influences, a lot of self-limiting beliefs, a lot of things are dying to make way for that. So this is part of why it's so uncomfortable, because a lot of things in your life and about yourself are actually like dying, because you're not giving them the energy anymore that you used to. You're not funneling all of that energy about concern about your image or guilt or, you know, anger or aggression or any of those things. You're really starting to shift out of those things and put your energy towards wisdom and love and power in a healthy way, and moving forward in your spiritual evolution and your soul path. And because you put so much of your energy towards that forward movement into bigger and better things, the energy that you had been funneling into all that social programming or those toxic relationships or your image, those things are dying because you're not giving energy to them anymore. And it's important to let those things die, because where you're headed is so much better. And this rebirth process that you're going through, while it's uncomfortable, you know, death and rebirth are side by side. They're right there next to each other. Both of them are terrifying things to go through, because there is so much uncertainty associated with both. And both are like this huge transition from one phase into another. So this is a very uncomfortable time for the masculine, because you are in that in-between space between dying and really being reborn. And Bat is helping you to navigate those spaces, because that's where Bat is. That's where he lives. That's where he hangs out. That's the energy that he is comfortable with. That's the power that he has. So he's here to assist you in navigating you through the heaviness of these energies. Like I said, you have so much divine support right now to let go of anything that's still blocking you, so that you can actually have the energy to move forward, the wisdom, the power, all that good stuff to move forward. And you have even more divine support through Raven. And Raven is all about magic. There is so much magic infusing your life right now. And a lot of you, I think you can feel this, but it's kind of scary, because again, you know, Raven is also kind of associated with that void space where all the magic happens, where all of the creativity happens. And, you know, it's, sorry, I blanked out. Wish I could stop doing that. But Raven is associated with that void space where all the creativity happens, where all of the rebirth happens, where the alchemy happens. And so Raven is helping you get in touch with your own magic and with the magic of the universe. So again, you can really know the connection that you have to source energy, that you are source and source is you, and all of that, so that you can really be a powerful alchemist and to manifest the things that you are wanting for yourself. But first you have to acknowledge your power. You have to acknowledge your worth. And that goes back to Kuan Yin, the reason why she's helping you to reconnect to all the ways in which your actions have influenced each other, both positive and negative, and all the ways other people have influenced you, is so that you can move further into that state of self-love and love in general. And the more you move into that space of love, the more you connect to your power, and the safer you feel to rise into your power and to be a manifestor and an alchemist and a creator, and to connect to the magic of the universe. And Raven is here to assist you in really connecting to that magic. Okay, so that's what we've got for the separated energies. And then for the tarot cards, we ended up getting, doing just, we did this last week too, I think, where it's just one set of cards for both the masculine and feminine energies, because even though the themes are presenting a little bit differently on an individual level, we're still going through basically the same theme of this transformation process, so that we can move fully into the new. So we've only got one set of tarot cards, and we will get into those now. Okay, so the first card that we have is the Death card. And, you know, we've talked about this before. Still, people freak out when they see the Death card, but the Death card is about this transformation process. It's kind of like that. It's going through this death and rebirth. So there is a lot of uncertainty associated with death, because it's like, okay, well, what now? Is it all over? And the answer is no. Death is just the end of one cycle to start into a new. Again, we're all moving into that next, upward turn of the spiral in our spiritual evolution, and we're all really moving into our power as alchemists and manifestors. We're really moving further into our understanding of our connection to everything that is. And we see that in the next card, which is the Ace of Wands. So this is that new start. We're right on the threshold of taking action. So where death is that end of one cycle, the Ace of Wands is moving into the next cycle. And the death card is a major arcana, so it's a much bigger energy. The reason why we're dealing with a minor arcana here is because we are a little bit uncertain of ourselves. We want to take action. We're ready for that fresh start, but we're like, I don't know what to do. Like, am I just going to repeat the same cycles? Am I actually moving into something new? Like, what direction am I going in? So it is it's this fresh energy, it's this fresh start, and we do feel a little uncertain because it's uncharted territory. We haven't been here before. We've started new cycles before lots of times, but this is a real shift point, because it's not just us, going through a shift point on a personal level. This is everything. I was talking about these cosmic influences are affecting everything. And we're moving into completely new and uncharted territory. So we do feel a little bit shaky. We do feel a little uncertain, but we know that we don't want to stay stuck anymore. We don't want to stay in that death energy. We're ready to really move forward. We just don't know how yet. And the next card that we have is the Three of Swords reversed. And this is how we move forward. By letting go of any heartbreak, by letting go of any self-limitation, by just letting go of anything that's hurting us, that's toxic for us, that's not helping us, that's not leading us forward. And that could be people, that could be circumstances, that could be your own perception of yourself and your own worth. It could be any number of things, but whatever it is that causes you heartbreak, that feels heavy to you, that is self-limiting in any way. That's what we need to let go of. That's how we're going to really move forward, is by letting go of these self-limitations, to accept this death process instead of fighting it, to flow with the universe, understand our connection to the universe, so we won't feel so much fear of the uncertainty. And that's what's going to allow us to move into that Ace of Swords energy. And the next three cards that we have, I was super excited. We got the World card next, and the World card is talking about a completion and kind of being on top of the world and having that big picture perspective. All right, so we're getting that broader view. We're coming into a completion point. We're moving more into our power. We're really ready to step into the next cycle. We're in a good spot. We just have to let go of any of our self-limitations that we still have. The next card that we have is the Sun card. So it just keeps getting better, right? So the Sun card is generally thought to be the most positive card in the entire deck, because this is talking about victory and renewal and illumination and all things good. Okay, so this is what we're going to be moving into. It's going to be a little uncertain for us at first. It is a leap of faith to move into that Ace of Swords, not Ace of Swords, that Ace of Wands energy. Well, kind of an Ace of Swords energy too, because our perspective is going to be shifting, and swords are about our thoughts, our perceptions, and about communication. So, in order for us to move into these fresh starts, we do have to let go of our self-limitations. But as soon as we do, and we're just like, okay, I'm going to take this leap of faith, I'm just going to flow with it, and we'll just see what happens. As soon as we do that, we're going to reach this completion point of this cycle of self-limitation, where we've been learning so much about ourselves and learning how to, we've been working on our self-mastery so that we can learn how to be these master alchemists and work with the universal flow better. And we're immediately going to start seeing positive things come into our lives, and a lot of abundance. And the last card that we have is the Star. So I'm seeing this in a couple of different ways here. So the Star in and of itself is talking about, optimism and hope and all of that. I'm also getting as well, my team just said that I need to mention as well that we're moving into this Aquarian age, where there's going to be a lot more illumination, and our perceptions are going to be changing as a collective in powerful ways, and this paradigm shift and everything. So we need to be optimistic about moving into that. We need to be optimistic about moving forward in our own lives. But what I really want to make note of here is from the earth perspective, when we're down here in our own little lives and all of that, we see it as the sun, right? It's this big energy that is life sustaining for us, right? We see it as just this energy that controls all life. But through this process where we're connecting to that source energy, to the universe, we get that broader perspective. And what is the sun ultimately? The sun is just another star. And when we get into that big picture perspective and we're really connecting to the universe, we get more of an idea that, well, the sun is life sustaining for us. And there's all this abundance and everything associated with it on this personal level, you know, down here on earth in our mortal form. When we get that bigger picture perspective and connect to the universe, that we can see all of the beauty, all of the interconnectedness, we see all of the joy, we see all of the love, we see all of the hope that there is, and the growth that there is perpetually happening within the universe as a whole. So this entire process is broadening our perspectives and our horizons in amazing and incredible ways. This week is actually really beautiful. There could be a little bit of potential for heaviness, but ultimately I don't feel like this is, I feel like this week is going to be heavy if you choose to let it be heavy. And that's always true, but sometimes it's easier for us or harder for us to make that choice. And I feel like this week, it's going to be easier for us to make that choice if we connect to the universe, if we connect to that source energy. It's going to be so much easier for us to not get wrapped up in our own problems, to not get wrapped up in the day-to-day things in our lives. And so we can shift our focus so that we can see everything from that big picture perspective. So we can see that everything that has ever happened and that's happening right now is happening to assist us in our path and assist us in our growth. This is a really beautiful energy. This is one of my favorite spreads that I think I have ever done, because it really does show how on an individual level, on a collective level, we are really moving into this immensely powerful transformative phase. I mean, we're already in that transition, but we're really getting ready to move into that Aquarian age of, and some people believe that we're already in it, but I'm talking more metaphorically here, into that Aquarian age of illumination and an understanding of our interconnectedness to all things, and really being able to see things from that broader perspective instead of being so wrapped up only in our humanness. It is important that we balance our divinity with our humanity. That is one of the biggest challenges that we have in our mortal lives, but it's also one of the most rewarding gifts that we have, is that we are both divine and human. We are both spirit and we are physical. And so that in and of itself makes our ability to manifest things so immensely powerful once we learn to harness that ability. So you guys have a wonderful week. Like, really, I know I always say this, but really make the most of these energies. If you've been kind of slacking on making the most of the energies, and I get it because it's been heavy, do not slack this week. Really do your work. And this shouldn't be hard work to do. Focus on that big picture view and on expanding your horizons and connecting to source energy. And if you focus on that, the other things will fall into place pretty easily for you, okay? So yeah, have a great week. I will see you guys next week. Bye.